we can't align with white nationalists. Oh, but she's very happy to align with who? With Nancy Pelosi and Trump on giving Israel $1 billion so they could go bomb Gazans and not fighting an inch, not fighting a single inch to strip funding for Israel from the larger NDAA spending package. You are the ethno-nationalist, ethno-supremacist, genocidal monster trying to claim that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a monster. She's not even there to defend herself. My God. A lot of people don't actually know this about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is currently attacking Marjorie Taylor Greene. For what reason, you might ask? Because Marjorie Taylor Greene outflanked AOC on the most important issues of the day. Marjorie Taylor Greene was vehemently opposed to war against Russia, and she was vehemently opposed to any aid to Ukraine and this proxy war. She's vehemently opposed to the war in Iran and the genocide in Gaza and the occupation and war crimes in Lebanon, the backing of Al-Qaeda in Syria, the coup and kidnapping in Venezuela of President Nicolas Maduro. I mean, she is really, in a lot of ways, she's actually perfect when you look at her foreign policy stances. Maybe she doesn't get it right from day one, but eventually she comes to the correct conclusions. I've seen that each and every time we put the litmus test before her and we say, how does she stand? At first, I might get a little angry with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I say, Marjorie Taylor, why do you support this? Why are you saying this? But over time, she listens, she reads, she learns, and she says, oh, actually, no, I don't support this. We should be fighting against it. Let's fight against it. And she will offer to unite with anyone and everyone in that pursuit, including even Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who the two women, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez being a current member of Congress, very high profile, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, a former member of Congress, have a long and very toxic history with one another, right? But a lot of people don't know actually where AOC stands on these matters. She got elected saying she's going to be anti-Zionist, no corporate PAC money. I'm a Democrat without chains. This is a revolution within the party. We're taking the party back from the oligarchs. But as soon as she got elected, the first major foreign policy vote that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez took in the 2021 session of Congress was to give Israel $1 billion. She voted present, which was the final vote needed if they wanted to stop the $1 billion going to Israel. She voted present, which allowed for the passage of $1 billion and funding of Israel's Operation Guardian of the Walls, which was a bombing campaign on Gaza, as well as the Iron Dome defense system. Now, it's worth noting that had AOC voted no, this $1 billion to Israel would have been squashed, never would have gotten there. And AOC, I will give her credit, she did initially vote no. She voted no on sending $1 billion in aid to Israel. And then she got in some fights on the House floor as the vote was ongoing, very high stakes vote. Everyone was watching it live. And someone yelled at her. I think Nancy Pelosi, if memory serves correct, someone was yelling at her. Then she started crying. And then she went back up and changed her vote to present to allow the $1 billion to pass in funding for Israel. That's who AOC is. She's a weak, spineless bitch. That's who she is. That's all she ever will be. And then she had the audacity to go out on Mehdi Hasan's show, another weak, spineless bitch, and say the following in defense of the vote, which guaranteed Israel would receive that $1 billion in funding. Take a listen. This is her defense.
You know, it is something that I weigh because there's always the macro and then there's the micro. And in the macro of narrative, of politics, of national impact, you know, I probably should have just gone with my value. But in the macro, which would be to vote no. But in the micro, I do believe that this created a window in our community to be able to bring all folks to the table, because my great fear is that that we are going to import the same sort of contention around this issue, and we can have a progressive movement that defends Palestinian human rights, that is Muslim, Christian, Jewish. So in the micro, I believe that it created a window of opportunity for us in the Bronx. But in the macro, it was very difficult, yes.
If you have no idea what she said, you're not alone. In the micro, and the micro and the macro and the micro created an opportunity for us here in the Bronx, sending $1 billion to Israel. Yeah. And the macro, we can have a true progressive movement in this country that defends, Palestinian rights by sending $1 billion to Israel's Operation Guardian of the Wall so they can go and bomb the poorest fucking people on the face of the planet that have been bombed for generations and will continue to be bombed thanks in part to AOC's funding of this bill. Also, when Kamala Harris was running for president, AOC said that Kamala is working tirelessly to bring a ceasefire to Gaza, despite the fact that Kamala just approved $24 billion in weapons for Israel in tandem with President Biden at the time. During April 2024, after Israel decided to bomb the Iranian embassy in Damascus, Syria, which was still held by President Bashar al-Assad at the time, and then Iran responded to the bombing of their embassy by just lobbing a few missiles over the Israeli border just for funsies to say, hey, you can't do that, without some sort of response, without wanting to start a full war, right? They just kind of like send some bombs over, some drones. AOC decided to condemn Iran, even though it was Israel that bombed the embassy. She said Iran's unprecedented attack on Israel following Israel strikes in Damascus represents an escalation in this conflict. I strongly condemn. Israeli strikes in Damascus. Yeah, they blew up a fucking embassy and they killed a bunch of embassy workers there. The U.S. must de-escalate tension in the region, including a ceasefire that surges aid to Gaza, ends the famine, frees the hostages. Yeah, very nice sounding after you already sent $1 billion there, right? What else do we have? Okay, so here is where we get into the meat and potatoes of this very story. Someone asked AOC a question about, why didn't you co-sign onto Marjorie Taylor Greene's bill to effectively, what was the bill here? Vote for an amendment to strip funding for Israel. Okay, why did you not co-sign onto the amendment to strip funding for Israel in a larger package? And Marjorie Taylor Greene is unfortunately no longer in Congress because she literally sacrificed herself while standing true to her principles. AOC, on the other hand, she backs the genocidal Zionist Democrats and Trump on all this madness. She, it's a very thin facade that she puts forward claiming opposition to Trump, but she supports all this stuff. This was her defense.
And I care about results. I care about results. Now, there are certain certain areas where I don't think that we should ignore some folks' record on some of these issues, right? It's about where we trust intent, where we trust where those outcomes are going. I personally do not trust someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, a proven bigot and anti-Semite, on the issues of what is good for Gazans and Israelis. I don't think that it benefits our movement in that instance to align the left with white nationalists. I don't think it serves us. And so I think it's about looking at the context, the place, the results, the outcomes, intentions, and where we think that train would go. But as far as what someone says about me, I could care less. And, I think it's really about what our outcomes are. And to be honest, there are some areas where things will not get done if they're partisan because they are anti-establishment.
Because things will not get done because they're anti-establishment. Yeah, because you refuse to sign on to it. You don't even try. You hear people critique you about not signing on to an amendment to strip funding for Israel, and you say, who cares? People criticize me. Who cares if more Palestinians get blown up? Who the hell cares? Who cares if they do a war against Iran and they blow up Iranian civilians and 290 schoolgirls in Iran? Who cares? People criticize me all the time. Who cares? We will not unite with bigots and anti-Semites. I mean, this could have come out of the mouth of like Barack Obama, or by the way, she's sitting right next to David Axelrod, former Obama advisor, as she's giving this speech here. And this is her presidential tryout. This is AOC's presidential candidate tryout test run. She's sitting next to David Axelrod. She's calling those who are pushing for a congresswoman who is pushing for stripping funding for Israel, an anti-Semite and a bigot. Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. We can't align with white nationalists. Oh, but she's very happy to align with who? With Nancy Pelosi and Trump on giving Israel $1 billion so they could go bomb Gazans and not fighting an inch, not fighting a single inch to strip funding for Israel from the larger NDAA spending package. You are the ethno-nationalist, ethno-supremacist, genocidal monster trying to claim that Marjorie Taylor Greene is a monster. She's not even there to defend herself. My God.
There is bipartisan consensus on keeping and protecting stock trading in Congress. And so it's going to require massive bipartisan consensus of people willing to come together across those differences to get it done.
And now the sheep clap. Yeah, it's going to require a massive bipartisan consensus of people fighting tooth and nail, but it's not going to be her. Actually, I want to be very clear about something. I made a mistake. AOC actually is willing to fight tooth and nail for real solutions in a bipartisan manner. She is willing to unite with so-called white nationalists. She is willing to unite with so-called bigots. The media refers to these people as bigots and white nationalists, just as long as it's not about stripping funding for Israel. She is, however, willing to fight for all of these things when it comes to teaming up with Ted Cruz and Tom Cotton to call for more sanctions on Israel. Yes, she co-signed a bill calling for more sanctions. Sorry, more sanctions on China. Did I say Israel? More sanctions on China. So she is willing to team up with these so-called bigots and racists because they want to sanction China. She is willing to team up with John Bolton and Trump and Nancy Pelosi, bigots and racists, in support of a coup attempt in Venezuela. She is willing to team up with bigots and racists if it's all about applying new sanctions on Cambodia, because Cambodia banned a U.S. puppet opposition party which was planning a National Endowment for Democracy-backed coup, regime change, color revolution in the country. Cambodia demolished 2 U.S. military bases, and China is helping build Cambodian infrastructure. So she's willing to unite with the racists and bigots when it comes to sanctioning Cambodia. Even Cenk Uygur, who literally is responsible for getting AOC elected, right? Cenk Uygur responsible for starting Justice Democrats, getting her, Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush, Paula Jean Swearengin, all of these people, all their campaigns, successful or not, he is responsible for all of that, with Kyle Kulinski, and Jimmy Dore was a part of it as well. And it was a brilliant idea at the time. Clearly didn't work out so well. Jimmy Dore will be the first person to tell you that and hold these people accountable. Kyle Kulinski still never will hold these people accountable. Cenk Uygur has started to hold these people accountable. Jimmy Dore held these people accountable from day one. You know, this is a fun fact for those of you who may not know. Guess who AOC gave her first interview to? Actually, a better way of phrasing that would be, guess who gave AOC her first interview? Out of all the independent media, all the TV shows, news stations, you know, everyone knows AOC now. Who gave AOC her first interview? Does anyone in the live chat know? Let's see. Nick? No, not Nick. Wait, Nick who? Cenk? No. Hassan Piker? No. Me? No. Wow, you guys, yes. Red Syrup knows. Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore gave AOC her first ever interview. That's who gave her first interview. And boy, oh boy, did she betray every single person that ever did a single thing for her. Jimmy Dore. And Jimmy Dore, you know, can't have anything but the most profound of praise for Jimmy Dore, because he held her accountable from the very first second that she started to raise red flags. Cenk Uygur made excuse after excuse. Hassan Piker is still friends with her, makes excuse after excuse. He does not condemn her. And Kyle Kulinski's in the same boat. Jimmy Dore is the only one. And Glenn Greenwald may have had her on his show. I'm not sure. Yeah, Glenn Greenwald did interview her a while ago. I think it may have been even when he was at The Intercept still. I don't remember. But Glenn Greenwald also, you know, beautiful takedown here. AOC is right that there are important differences between her and Marjorie Taylor Greene. AOC emphatically condemns policies only when Trump and the GOP do them, gets muted and deferential when Dems do them. Yes, when Trump bombed Syria in his first term, AOC called him the Mad King. When Biden bombed Syria multiple times and killed even more civilians, AOC was completely silent. By contrast, Marjorie Taylor Greene criticizes policies with equal fervor regardless of which party does them. True. Marjorie Taylor Greene condemns GOP leaders when they betray their purported values. AOC does not. Marjorie Taylor Greene introduced a bill to cut all U.S. financing of Israel's military. AOC voted no. Marjorie Taylor Greene scorns the AIPAC ADL tactic of accusing Israel critics of being racist and anti-Semitic. AOC embraces it, so on and so forth. AOC is nothing but a Zionist fraud. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.